Welcome, everybody. Welcome to tonight's edition of Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and with Corey.
That's me. Hello, everybody.
Unlocking Your Truth is a talk show about metaphysics and spirituality. We broadcast every Tuesday from 7 to 8 o'clock Pacific time on 101.7 FM across the Fraser Valley from the unceded territory of the Stolo Nation.
Yay.
And also, you can get it on all the major podcasting platforms. You can also watch all the past episodes on my website, drlesliephillips.com. And you can be part of the live audience. And to be part of the live audience and ask your questions live, you can join the Awaken Your Psychic Abilities Facebook group or follow me on YouTube.
Yes.
So, if you're tuning in for the first time, you might go, well, thanks for all that, but how do I know yet? How do I know yet if I want to do that? Well, hopefully you'll stay tuned in and you'll listen a bit longer and you'll get to find out what the show is all about. But this show, we've been doing it for 7.5 years, and there is a library of podcast episodes, well over 350. And if you go to my website, you're a student of metaphysics, you're interested in anything to do with healing, metaphysics, being psychic, you can go there and you will find an enormous amount of information, all for free. Isn't that amazing? Okay, so tonight, well, I didn't have a topic in mind, but I just thought I'd draw from my day. So the topic is going to be the ups and downs of life, the challenges that we face, and how to navigate that, what to do when you feel out of control on an emotional level. So I've been seeing some clients recently who feel very much at sea when it comes to their emotions, and it stops them getting a spiritual perspective and a handle on really taking charge of their life. So I thought we could talk about that, because certainly in our world today, there are lots of things for people to get challenged by, whether it is in the context of the collective consciousness. You only need to have to open a news channel and it's quite hard to find something positive on most of them, isn't it? You know, you've got war, and you've got shootings, and you've got forest fires, and major things that are affecting people. And if you live in one of those regions where those things are happening, then it's terrifying for you. It can be terrifying for you. And then we also have the things that happen to people in their lives, like a serious illness. Like if you, let's say you're in a terrible accident, or you have cancer and you have to have an operation to remove part of your body. And so, or you have a relationship that ends, that throws you into a state of emotional upheaval. So let's ask two questions. One question is, if that's happening within me, how do I handle that? And then part two, if that's happening for somebody close to me, how do I handle that? So let's talk about the emotions, and let's use a couple of metaphors to talk about the emotions. So I often think that the emotions can be like the weather. They can be like the weather. And so in a healthy emotional state, then the weather comes and goes. You know, the weather comes and goes. And we have different types of weather. You know, we have sunny weather, feeling joyful, feeling happy, feeling at ease. We have stormy weather. We have blizzards where we're snowed in and we can't go anywhere or do anything. We have heat waves. We have, you know, we have the wind, the rain, all of it. And on top of that, we actually have some additional things that are happening on the planet at the moment, like, which I guess they contribute to the weather, sort of, things like earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. So we have this emotional landscape, and it's a bit like the weather. And if we have a healthy emotional state, then we allow the different phases of the weather to come and go. But if we have a challenging relationship with our emotions, it can be like you are a boat on a very stormy, tumultuous ocean, with the rain lashing, the waves bashing, crashing against the rocks, barely avoiding a shipwreck. That's what it can be like, and it can feel like you have no control whatsoever, that you are a victim of circumstances, that you are being tossed around, and you know, it's just you feel like you have no control over your life and over what's happening. So maybe you even feel like a victim, highly anxious, highly stressed out, all of those types of things. And what can happen when we're going through a challenging time like that, and we've got these charged emotional states, then our mind can also go crazy, can't it? And so if you've got something in your life to worry about, then what do? We project into the future all sorts of horrendous future scenarios. What if this? What if that? What if I die of cancer? Or what if I lose my job? Or what if I can't find another job? Or what if I can't get my act together? Or, you know, whatever it might be. What if we break up? We tend to project our energy into the future. And sometimes we invest it into the past. What did I do wrong? Why did that happen? Or why did they say that? Or that was so hurtful to me, or I was victimized by that person. So we spread our energy around. So remember, you exist your body exists right here, right now, in present time reality. It can't go anywhere else. But we slosh our energy about. So if we're on that boat on the stormy sea, we're sloshing, we're bailing and sloshing the buckets into the future and into the past and splashing it all around. And then the other thing that we do sometimes is, I've got all this dreadful pain inside of me. I don't want it. This person will listen, and I'm going to spew it all over that person, so that person ends up feeling bad a lot with me as well. And And so, it can just be a completely out of control state. So what can you do? And it seems hopeless, doesn't it? If you don't have any spiritual information and you don't have any spiritual techniques, it seems absolutely hopeless. To how the heck? It's almost like fate. And, am I going to be saved? Will somebody save me from this nightmare? Will somebody wave their magic wand and it will all be okay? And of course, we know you create your reality by the energy that you are, and you are the only person who can save yourself. That doesn't mean that other people can't be kind and can't be helpful, but at the end of the day, if you are in a downward spiral, the only one that can shift the trajectory of the downward spiral is you. Yes, people can be kind, they can be helpful, they can give you a helping hand, but they can't do it for you. So we need to be with the body, because it is the body that is having the emotional tantrum. It is the body that is all stirred up in that way. And the body is stirred up in that way because it has a message for you. It's telling you you're out of alignment. Something's wrong. Something is awry. Please listen to me. Please pay attention. The body needs parenting in some way. And so, first of all, you need to be there with your body. See, a lot of people will just run away from the body, disassociate from the body, leave the body to just cope with it all on its own. So we need to be in present time with the body, and we need all of our energy at our fingertips. So instead of spending all day long worrying, projecting into the future, we need to pull our energy back into the now moment. Instead of feeling depressed because of what happened in the past, or because we lost something and we don't think we'll ever get it back, we need to pull our energy out of the past into the present. Because if we don't do that, it's not going to help. The body will be really frightened by those projections, and it will be really depressed by going over and digging up the past. So we need to be in present time with the body, number one, and have all of our energy for ourselves instead of disassociating or spreading it out. And so there are lots of things that you can use to help you do that. And one of them is mindfulness. So mindfulness is a practice where you use the physical senses, which are of the body, to help connect you to the body. So a simple thing is just to focus on the breath, because it's the body that's breathing. So focusing on the breath will start to bring you into connection with the body. Another might be to listen to the heartbeat, to feel the pulse. That's happening in the body. It will help bring you into the body. And then we have our spiritual techniques as well. But I forget something. So the other things in a mindfulness practice is, of course, the 5 physical senses. If what do you feel? What's the sensation? The feeling of your clothes against your skin. That will bring you into the here and now. What are you hearing? What are the noises in the local environment that will bring you into the here and now? What can you see around you? What can you smell? What can you taste? All of these things bring your focus into the present moment. And guess what? When you're in the present moment, those things that you're projecting are not happening, are they? Like in this moment, I'm sitting in my office chair and I'm talking to you. That's what's happening for me in this moment. But if I sat here and said, well, I'm worried about such and such, and I started projecting my energy into that, that's actually not happening. It's just a projection. I'm projecting it. And I am stirring up my reality for no reason whatsoever, apart from the fact that I have, I don't know, leaky energy and I'm not in control of what I'm doing in my energy. Or if I sat here preoccupied by something that that happened to me in the past, that I was feeling bad about, you know, same thing. It isn't happening now. What's happening now is this person sitting in the office chair talking to you. And so by focusing on your body, you bring yourself into that present moment and you stop yourself with those projections. So now you're left with you. And of course, you can still be splashing it about into other people. It's a common thing. People, if they get angry, if you've been in the presence of an angry person who's not in control of their anger, they will throw their anger at people. If you've been in the room in the presence of a really, really frightened person, that fear spreads out to everyone, and everyone is. It's like it's quite common for everyone to just stiffen up and shut up. Just doesn't feel safe anymore to be in that room. So we've all had those circumstances where we're in the presence of someone who's not in control of their emotions. And so after we come back from the break, we'll talk some more about what to do about that. Welcome back to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and with Corey.
Hello.
We're talking about the stormy sea of emotions. Challenging times. When we're going through challenging times and the body is reacting to the challenging times and we feel out of control, what can we do? And we were talking about what people do with their emotional energy just before the break, and we were saying how people who are in a disturbed state, including you, including all of us, you know,
Yeah, that's true. Everybody gets this.
May have this tendency to share, to sort of spew out their emotions, to lash out with them, to project them into someone else's space, or somebody who's feeling hopeless. It's sort of like, here, I hate this, I'm not enjoying this, take it off my hands, here, you have that. You have that, you heal that for me. And so if that's you that's doing that, because we've been talking about you, we've been saying, bring your energy back from the future, bring your energy back from the past, be in present time. And we said, be here now, meaning the space that you are occupying, okay? So you can project into the future, into the past, or be in present time, and you can project out into someone else's space. So it's the same thing. It's to contract your energy in, to bring your energy back to you, to have an integrity of your own energy, to own it, so that you're not doing that. So the idea is when we get overly emotional, we tend to spread out and we need to pull back in. What if there's somebody else that's doing that?
To us, you mean?
Yeah. How do you handle when someone in your life is emotionally overwrought, emotionally overwhelmed, and is challenging you because they are challenged? What do you do? How do you remain helpful without being dragged down? So let's see, how do we do that? Well, I mean, I think, again, it's partly to do with an integrity of your energy. So sometimes when somebody is feeling bad, we want to go, oh, you know, let me embrace you. Let me give you a hug. Let me pull you in. You know, it's that motherly instinct, you know, let me wash your cares away. But what we might be doing is inadvertently absorbing some of that in an attempt to help the person. And the other thing is non-resistance, because as soon as you start resisting that person and what's going on with them, oh, now you're stuck. Now you're stuck in it, right? And it's and judgment. If you judge them, why is that person acting that way? Why are they being so mean? Or why can't they pull themselves together? Then that judgment will keep you stuck. Or if you're resisting, oh my God, I wish they would stop. I wish they would stop. I wish they wouldn't be doing that. You're stuck with it, right? So we need to be non-judgmental, non-resistant. We need to be neutral. And so there's no better way that I know than meditation. And the meditation techniques that I teach that are helpful for developing your psychic abilities are also extremely helpful in this set of circumstances, because they help you be here and now. They help you be in charge of your energy, and they help you be neutral. And of course, Corey's going to post on a link to a free meditation on my website that teaches 2 techniques, grounding and centering.
I can do that.
Yes. Yeah. And so you can ground and you can center. In fact, why talk about it when you can do it? So let's have a little quick grounding, centering, and we can explore how it helps us in this set of circumstances. So close your eyes, turn within, and be aware of an energy center near the base of your spine. And just allow there to be an energy flow that travels from there and flows through all the levels and layers of physical matter, all the way to the center of the earth. It's like a tether or an anchor. So we were using the metaphor of a stormy sea. This is your anchor in a storm. We were talking about needing to be here and now. This tethers you to the here and now. And we were also talking about, well, who's the one having the tantrum? It's the body. So it reconnects you with your body so that you can start to face and deal with what's happening in the body. You know, why is this body disturbed? What's causing this? What do I need to do to rectify? So by being grounded, you come more into your body. You become more aware of your system. And you've pulled your energy in from here, there, and everywhere to here and now. And then the second thing we want to do is focus our consciousness in the center of the head, in the pineal gland. Because this is the seat of the soul in the human system. And it allows you to be neutral. So be in the center of your head, the very center of your brain, not the front of your forehead, the center of your brain. And when we sit here, we are neutral and we are non-judgmental. And we have a spiritual perspective. We can witness our life and we can witness the challenge without being tossed about like that boat without an anchor in a storm. So being in the center of your head, to use the weather metaphor, is like being in the eye of the storm. If you ever know a hurricane or a tornado, it's crazy until you get to the very center and then it's dead still. That's what this is like, being in the center of your head. So you can practice mindfulness and you can practice these specific meditation techniques that you can download for free on my website. And so if it's you and your system that's having the issue, then by grounding and centering, you can now be neutral about it, and you can direct the disturbance down your grounding. If it's somebody else that's having the problem, and you ground and you center, you can be neutral about what they're going through, which actually puts you in a better position to be able to help them. And you can be in a state of non-resistance because the grounding is allowing the energy to flow. So if they are so out of control that they are throwing energy at you, the more grounded you are, the more that it will just be like, not exactly like water off a duck's back, but it will just flow out of your system. So I'd be interested in anyone that's in the live audience who wants to share either any recent challenges that they have had and how they coped with it, or if they have had any people in their life who have been feeling emotionally disturbed of late and how they coped with that. So, and on a back to the mass consciousness level, there are a lot of disturbed people. There is a lot of polarization. And so how we, as if we want to call us light workers or whatever name you want to call us, spiritually aware, spiritually awakened people, how we can help with that is to ground and center. Because when you ground and center, you anchor light. You bring in the light of spirit and you anchor it here on earth. And that is so much more powerful than one person doing that or 10 people doing that. Is counterbalances a very large number of people who are out of control. And so in any of these situations, being grounded and being centered is how you can help yourself, is how you can help the other person, is how you can help the planet, is how you can help the mass consciousness of humanity by being a grounded presence, by being a centered presence. And by keeping your energy high and clear, then you're a beacon of light, you're anchoring that light, and you're helping the weather to calm. You're helping the weather to calm. You know, there are some teachers who say, and I believe this, that we create the weather with our consciousness. Or at least there is a relationship between our consciousness and the weather. And so we can literally calm a storm on the planet. If we meditate on it, we can quell it. And we can definitely calm the storm within ourselves and within another person. Because if you are a grounded presence, the other person is invited to match that groundedness. And they're invited to calm down. It diffuses what's going on with them. But if you allow yourself to be agitated, then that is what's going to expand. But if they're out of control, but you're grounded and centered, they can't, there's only so far that they can go with that. So I hope that makes sense, everybody. And I'm going to see if there are any comments yet about that. Anything anyone shared?
Denise says, I went for a walk during an argument, which apparently is just the way that she calms down.
Yeah, that's a good one. And you know, going for a walk can help you to naturally ground. And being out in nature really, really helps your energy.
I had, on behalf of somebody I know, I have a friend, and they were telling me today that they had a dream that really frightened them emotionally. He said he was dreaming and of a black entity, like a person that was pushing him down on his bed, and he actually woke up from the feeling, the sensation of being pushed, and he was quite. He's never had anything like that happen to him before. It was very, very tense for him. That's my friend Peter that I play cards with.
And is that a question?
Yeah, he was wondering what it was, and right away somebody that was that was sitting with us says that, oh, I'll gave him a blessing and says, oh, that was the devil.
No.
I didn't say anything because
Okay, well, let's take a look at that. You know, so sometimes when we're asleep and when we're dreaming, we are working on different projects, and sometimes we're working on a healing project, and oftentimes a dream is almost like we're journeying into our own consciousness. We're journeying into our own psychological landscape and wrestling with our inner demons or something that is troubling us, you know, something that's bothering and troubling us. And so to me, it looks like this was something that he was struggling with within himself, and that he had been working on it outside of the body. And as he came back into the body, trying to bring the healing into the body, he encountered just a density. I'm seeing it in the shape of his body, actually. Mm-hmm. And so I am seeing that it was him doing work on himself. and that he'd made some changes on the astral plane that he was then trying to bring into the body, and then it sort of was so dense in the body that it kind of not exactly got stuck, but that's what he was dealing with. His own shadow, sort of like almost like a shadow aspect of himself, we could call it, or a big Peter-shaped lump of energy that he was trying to dispose of and let go of out of his system. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say to him, but wasn't the right time and place, is he's going through some medical challenges. He's looking at a surgery, and quite a drastic surgery. And I think that's heart surgery, and that's what's affecting him. That the emotions behind and the fear behind that whole process.
That makes sense to me. And the other thing that I was seeing him doing actually is sort of looking at his body and saying, okay, well, I'm not that body, but also actually I'd quite like to heal that body. And so what do we need to change in this body to heal it?
Hey, it's time for a break, Dr. Leslie.
All right, we'll be back after these messages. Welcome back to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and Corey. And we're talking about emotional tumultuousness, emotional overwhelm, emotional tantrums, being out of control with your emotions, or dealing with other people who are out of control with their emotions. How do you handle it? But we are at the time in the show where it's over to our listeners who are live to ask their questions.
Yeah, we don't accept questions from dead listeners. So
who are live, not well, and they are alive as well. Well, I would accept a question from a dead listener if you can tune in and tell me what it is. Excuse me.
What can I say? Dr. Leslie, you're a wild one. Okay, let's go. We got quite a number of questions. Susan, my mom started to bring her own energy in close to her body before going into the hospital to visit my aunt. She does this anytime there will be a lot of people around, and it's helped her 100%.
Yes. Excellent, Susan. Exactly. And thank you for that, because I didn't talk about that, did I? But yes, your energy field, you can have conscious control of it. You can spread it out, or you can bring it in. And if you're going to be in a crowd, or somewhere like a hospital where people are disturbed, it's a good idea to bring it in, because then you're not overlapping with those other energies. So good one, Susan. Thank you.
I'm just going to interject one out of sequence. Denise said that explains why my partner goes through at night. He fights a lot during sleep.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so yeah, that makes sense. Okay, this is from Brian. He says, for me, everything feels different. Sometimes doesn't even feel like I'm in the same timeline, like my past occurred to someone else. Sometimes the changes and energy shifts can seem like a bit much. In those moments, I release attachment. I kind of connect with the flow. It seems natural now. And I feel that deeper sense of peace, that everything will be okay. That's all. That all is as it should be. Resistance falls away. It's hard to describe with concepts. It's experiential.
Yes. Well, also, thank you, Brian, also for bringing that up, because so much is changing so rapidly. And again, if you've got some spiritual information where you understand that, and you've got some spiritual techniques, then it's an easier ride. But if you're someone who doesn't, then imagine what that's like. I mean, you've got some consciousness level there, Brian, and some way of handling it. And I think we should just be so grateful that we do, because things are changing so quickly, and really the way is to surrender and go with the flow and allow, and not to fight against it, and not to get disturbed like, am I going crazy? Because it's changing so rapidly, and we're becoming more conscious of things as they change. And all you do have is this present moment, and you are shifting each moment, and a new timeline behind, past and future is connecting in to that new moment. So absolutely, it's a completely different paradigm and way of experiencing reality than we used to be experiencing. So thank you, Brian, for sharing that as well.
Okay. It's from Tracy. Tracy says, I have a client that has cancer and she cannot seem to work through the pain. I have tried to help her understand the pain. She has made progress, but still can't get it under control. I know I cannot fix this for her, but on the other hand, I feel helpless because I can't seem to lead her to take care of this for herself. I go back and forth with my emotions and keep reminding myself that I'm not responsible for her. Any suggestions?
Yeah, it's a challenging one, isn't it? I said I'm doing this show because of my day to day was a little bit like that too. So, well, let me have a look. Let me have a look at this one. And when you say pain, I wonder, are you meaning physical pain, psychological pain, emotional pain? What kind of pain are you talking about? Because I guess if someone's got cancer, it can be all of those different types of pain, can't it? So, well, let's have a look. What can you do to help somebody without being responsible for them?
Physical.
It's physical pain. Okay. Well, I will look at that. But you're right, like the basic concepts are, is to offer information to help that person shift their consciousness, shift their beliefs, understand why this might be happening, and also to offer energy that can catalyze the healing process. And then you have to allow them their journey. Because you're right, you can't do it for them. But I'll take a look at your particular circumstance and see if anything specific comes up. So you could give her some information on how to take a break from the body. I know that you've taken my Unlock Your Intuition course, and so you know how to, for example, go to the corner of the room. So I don't know if you've been focusing on helping her, stay with it, clear it, stay in the body, but you could teach her ways of deliberately taking a break from the body to give her some respite. See what else we can see. Do you want to tell me what kind of cancer it is, Tracy? I mean, I'm seeing a lot of stuff around this lady's first chakra, but
Bone cancer.
oh, bone cancer. Oh, well, that is a foundation. So no wonder I'm looking at the first chakra, because that is like the foundation, isn't it? The support system, the foundation of things. Well, I mean, this almost looks, I mean, I guess the question is, what can you do? So I'm sure you're reading this lady and seeing what's going on in her system. I mean, it looks like that there's a lot of stuff to do with not feeling supported in various different ways. But so what can you do apart from what you're doing? I must want to say, give yourself a break. So remember back to the medical intuition course, there's something called overhealing. And we don't want to go into effort, and we don't want, you know, so also, I mean, it depends what this person wants as well. I mean, maybe just being there for them is something that is, you know, helpful to them. I don't know. I mean, I think like this is a bit of a longer one. I think it would take me a bit longer to pick all of this apart. But I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head, was let go of responsibility. Be neutral. You can't do it for her. You can give her information, you can teach her techniques. But if she doesn't want the techniques or the information, and you can give her energy, but it's up to her what she does with that. And she is on her own journey. So realizing that she's on her own journey. But to me, anyway, it looks like it's a lot to do with first chakra stuff and not feeling supported in life in all sorts of different ways. So helping her work through that, if you're able to, if she's willing to receive that kind of help, I think that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, it's in the lower back and spine. So that makes.
That's the area I was seeing. And I was also seeing, yeah, it's like she has difficulty connecting with this reality, and therefore difficulty creating that support for herself in her life. So I don't know, you may look into, you know, what's the origin point of that? Where did that originate? That she felt so unsupported? What happened to her earlier in her life?
Okay, this is from Lorraine. Lorraine says, I'll be seeing my daughter in July, and she can't overcome the loss of her son who committed suicide. Any suggestions on how to help her?
That's a very challenging one, isn't it? So again, I think some of the things that we said to Tracy is that she's on her own journey with this. She's on her own journey with this, and she's gonna have to go through it the way that she goes through it. But let's take a look. I think it depends on your daughter and what she's open to. Sometimes it's helpful for people to be able to talk to somebody like a medium who can communicate with the son, that she's going to believe that it's a genuine communication, so that she can really hear and trust that the son is fine. But if she's not open to that, then you know, I mean, I guess has she had any grief counseling? Because it looks like there's a lot of things that can happen, especially when it's a child, that, you know, I'm supposed to protect them. I'm supposed to be able to ensure that such a thing doesn't happen to my child. I failed as a parent if something like this happens. So there's guilt. And you know, and all that kind of stuff, like parents they expect to die before their children. So I mean, it looks like actually she's got a lot of that survival level first chakra stuff going on, just like the lady that we were talking about with Tracy. I'm also seeing it very first chakra related, and I mean, it feels to me like her son communicates with her all the time, but I don't think she's able to be aware of it. Or maybe she is. So I don't know. I mean, it depends what she's open to, Lorraine. And if she's open to some of that spiritual stuff or to grief counseling. But I mean, I think all you can do is be there and love her and let her know that she's loved and accepted. And if she's judging herself, is that there are people who are not judging her. That's all I got. Tough one.
Thank you. This is from Andorini. Andorini says, thank you. It seems like you read my mind. I have been in a storm of emotions and overhauled by it. Well, I guess you mean it's overwhelmed by it. I don't know whether it is the cause, whether it's caused of my chemo treatment, or my own feeling. And so I feel, I so feel need a healing. This emotionality has also affected my relationship.
Hello, Andorini. I didn't know you were having chemotherapy. So I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, and then the question is, so you're struggling on an emotional level, and what's the underlying issue here? Well, there's a theme going on. I'm just looking at everybody's first chakra in the last 3. So I'd like to know a little bit more, really, Andorini. You know, if you feel like having, you know, booking a session, I'd be happy to help you go into it in more depth. But in the short time that we've got on the radio show, let's see. So her question was, what's causing the emotional ups and downs? Is it, Corey?
Storm of emotions, overwhelmed. I don't know whether it's the cause yeah, she's the cause of her volatile emotions. Yeah. Use the word volatile. Maybe it's too strong.
Well, it's almost like these last 3 people as well. It's almost like there's a constipation effect where everything's blocked up around the first chakra level. So it feels like things are building up inside you and not having an adequate outlet, so then they explode. And Andorini, so you've taken some of my training, and you know how to ground and you know how to center. And so it just looks like there's stuff bottled up inside you. And because it's not being released as it's come up, it's like the pressure is built up inside and now it's exploding out. So remember, we were talking how emotions are like the weather or like clouds. We need to let them flow as they arise. And I'm just seeing that it's just relating to things being bottled up inside you and then exploding out. But you can add some spiritual techniques into the mix to help diffuse this buildup of energy. So that's what I would suggest. And we've been giving you a little bit of a healing while we've been talking. Okay, next question.
This is from Susan. She says, for 2 weeks, I felt out of my body, like I was separate from everyone around me, not myself. I couldn't meditate or do anything I normally do or feel better. It was scary. Is there any insight you may have?
Does Susan have an initial, or is she just Susan?
Yes, Susan R. Susan.
Okay, so I don't think it's one of my students. No. Okay, let's have a look. It's kind of interesting. Oh, there's a lovely rainbow outside my window.
Squirrel.
It's kind of interesting that this is what it looks like to me. It's like you're outside of the body and you're trying to connect to a future time version of yourself. So somehow you're not completely enjoying the present time version of yourself, and you're wanting to jump into a future time version of yourself. So that's very interesting. I've not quite seen anything quite like that before. But it's like, yeah, you've got your spiritually sort of like you're fixed on, I want that one. I want to be that one. And I'm this one, but I want to be that one. And so that one that you'd rather be is the one that is sort of healed and happy. So it's almost like you've been trying to skip steps. You've been trying to bypass the challenging part of the hero's journey, right? So the hero's journey, we all go through these different phases of the hero's journey, and sometimes it's challenging. And it's looked like you just said, well, I'd rather disassociate from my body and then skip over that and jump into it when it's all fixed. So that's my explanation of what you were doing. And of course, like we were saying earlier, your body is where your body is in the moment that it is. And you as spirit, you can be anytime, any place, anywhere, but the body can't. So really the option is to reconnect with your body and to face whatever is the next thing on the hero's journey. Thank you so much for that question, Susan. And unfortunately, that's the end of the show.
We'll see you guys all next week. Thanks for all your questions.
There's no show next week, Corey.
Okay, we'll see you the week after.
We'll see you in 2 weeks for the live show.
Uh-oh.